You are holding a small, black titanium thumb drive. To anyone else standing in this fluorescent lit strip mall bank, it's a $20 piece of plastic. To you, it is the anchor to a world that doesn't use names, only encrypted signal accounts and burner devices. Right now, that drive is completely empty, but your job is to fill it. You are a cleaner of financial sins. You take the dirty, chaotic, mold-smelling street paper generated by the worst people on Earth, and you transform it into legitimate, untouchable digital zeros. Your collar is damp against the back of your neck. The mechanical whine of the overhead lights is boring a hole directly behind your eyes. You are sweating because you are holding a yellow manila envelope containing exactly $9,900. You do not deposit $10,000. $10,000 is the tripwire. 10,000 triggers a currency transaction report. The moment a CTR is filed, the IRS algorithm starts sniffing your digital footprint, looking for patterns. 9,900 is invisible. It is a rounding error. You step up to the teller. You wear a cheap, badly fitted polyester suit so you look like a tired, mid-level regional manager making a standard petty cash run for a vending machine company. You smile. You hand over the envelope. The teller runs the bills through the automatic counter. The machine whirs, the screen flashes green, and a receipt prints out. The money is in the system. You just completed stage 1 of the wash. You are a bottom feeder, a Smurf. You hit 6 different banks a day, structuring deposits just under the reporting threshold, breaking massive piles of street cash into bite-sized, untraceable chunks. You walk out into the thick Miami humidity, patting your left pocket where the titanium drive sits heavy against your thigh. You swore to yourself you would never step into the deep water where the ghosts operate, but you know you were going to use that drive. That is the addiction. You do not care about the flashy cars or the VIP tables. You are obsessed with the clean, the pure bureaucratic alchemy of taking pure liability and turning it into absolute financial innocence. You are highly efficient. You never trigger a single suspicious activity report. You keep your head down, you do the math perfectly, and your ledgers always balance to the penny. And in this industry, hypercompetence is a magnet for the exact people you want to avoid. Your burner phone vibrates, a text from a number with a routing prefix you don't recognize, an address, a time. You are being promoted to layering. The physical street paper is gone now. The rubber bands and the duffel bags are replaced by Excel spreadsheets, corporate tax IDs, and cash-heavy front businesses. You were given a budget and told to purchase 3 failing laundromats and a chain of mediocre hand-wash auto detailing spots in Broward County. This is where the real mechanics operate. This is how you build the wall between the dirty cash and the clean bank account. A hand-wash auto spot might do 15 cars on a slow, rainy Tuesday in reality. On your spreadsheet, you claim 90. You ring up fake receipts for premium ceramic wax coatings, interior leather conditioning, and undercarriage detailing. You take the dirty 50s and 100s the syndicate drops off, run them through the register, and dump the cash into the corporate bank account at the end of the week as gross revenue. Then you do the one thing criminals hate doing. You pay the state sales tax, you file the quarterly earnings, you smile at the IRS. That is the great unspoken secret of the wash. You have to bribe the government with taxes to buy your innocence. You are moving hundreds of thousands a week now. The adrenaline is a slow, steady IV drip in your veins. You sit in a windowless back office staring at 4 monitors, feeling like a god of liquidity. You are untouchable. Then, the guy sitting at the desk next to you makes a mistake. He is handling a separate portfolio for the syndicate, a minor nested shale company operating out of Nevada. He misplaced a decimal point on a routine quarterly filing, leaving a $50,000 gap in the paper trail. 50 grand is nothing to the people you work for. It's pocket change. But the gap creates a vulnerability. It creates regulatory friction. 3 days later, he experiences a hostile corporate restructuring. You are working late when 2 independent contractors in tailored suits walk into the office. They do not say a word. They lock the door. They use a piece of heavy steel hardware. The clinical facts of the next 4 minutes burn themselves into your retinas. 4 fractured ribs, a dislocated jaw, severe nerve damage, a shattered orbital bone. Your coworker is dragged out the back freight elevator. He checks out early. permanently removed from the board. Your encrypted phone lights up immediately. The message is short. You are taking over his workload. Fix his math. You realize extreme wealth does not buy safety. It buys a thicker leash. You are pushed entirely out of your comfort zone, drafted into the major leagues. Integration, the absolute apex of the washing cycle. You are not in a sweaty Miami back office anymore. You are relocated. You sit in a soundproof family office in Geneva. Zero paper anywhere, just heavy glass, pure white walls, encrypted cold storage servers humming quietly in the corner, and a view of the Alps that looks so perfect it hurts your eyes. Your job now is to move tens of millions at a time using nested doll corporate structures. You do not deal with car washes anymore. You deal in international corporate fog. You set up a trust in the Cook Islands, which is wholly owned by a holding company in the Caymans, which serves as the primary shareholder for a Delaware LLC. The Delaware LLC is completely opaque. Nobody knows who owns it. Using clean corporate funds funneled through the Caymans, the Delaware LLC buys a piece of abstract fine art at a private auction in London for $2 million. It goes into a high-security, tax-free Freeport storage facility. 2 months later, the syndicate pays a friendly, highly credentialed art appraiser to reevaluate the piece. He declares it a masterwork worth $6 million. Then you donate that art to a cooperative private museum. You claim a $6 million charitable tax deduction, effectively wiping out the tax liability for the syndicate's other, more aggressive revenue streams. It is a perfect closed-loop ecosystem. You are a maestro of compliance. Until the friction hits. You're sipping a glass of sparkling water when your terminal flashes red. A mid-level clearing bank in Cyprus just got hit with a surprise audit by the European Central Bank. Regulatory friction. Before you can even open the terminal to reroute the funds, Interpol freezes an intermediary account holding $42 million of the syndicate's working capital. Your encrypted phone lights up. A blank text, just a countdown timer. 48 hours. Your stomach drops into your shoes. The sparkling water turns to ash in your mouth. Your jaw clicks loudly in the silent room. You've been grinding your teeth since Tuesday. If that money stays frozen, you are the liability. The syndicate does not accept apologies. The syndicate sends men with steel hardware. 48 hours to reroute everything. You open your terminal. Your fingers feel heavy, numb. Your lungs are tight, pulling in thin, filtered air. You bypass the frozen nodes. You trigger a crypto tumbling protocol, breaking the 100,000 microtransactions, Monero blockchains, bouncing through decentralized exchanges, unregulated jurisdictions. You watch the progress bar crawl. You convert the Monero to Ethereum, then immediately peg it to stablecoins to prevent market volatility from eating the principal. You are sweating now. Geneva feels exactly like Miami. The temperature in the room hasn't changed, but your shirt is sticking to your spine. You need to integrate the stablecoins back into the fiat banking system. You feed the digital assets into a network of legitimate Asian import-export businesses. You generate 300 fake invoices for raw semiconductor materials that do not even exist. You process the payments. Error code on screen. Blocked. A Know Your Customer check triggered by a monetary authority in Singapore. They want proof of beneficial ownership for the importing entity. Heart pounding, acid rising in the back of your throat. Time is ticking down. 20 hours left. You open a secure partition on your drive. You pull up a template. You forge a corporate resolution. You digitally sign the beneficial owner documents using the identity of a deceased Romanian national. You upload the falsified passports. You attach the forged shipping manifests showing the semiconductor parts leaving a port in Shenzhen. Send. Wait. Processing. The circle spins on the screen. Every second feels like an hour. Cleared. The notification chimes softly. The $42 million lands back in the Swiss accounts, completely scrubbed. Virgin money, untraceable. The fake invoices justify the deposit. The crypto tumbling obscures the origin, and the Cyprus freeze is totally bypassed. You lean back in your ergonomic chair. Your heart rate slowly drops. The silence of the Geneva penthouse is absolute. You pull the black titanium ledger drive from your desk drawer, the one you promised yourself you would never use, the one you held in that strip mall bank what feels like a lifetime ago. You plug it into the terminal. You download the private keys holding your specific cut of the operation. You pull the drive out. It is heavy now. It holds more digital zeros than you could possibly spend in 10 lifetimes. You are at the absolute pinnacle of the ecosystem. You are the apex washer. You beat the system. You beat the regulators. You beat the algorithms. And you are completely, hopelessly trapped. You walk over to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the snow-capped mountains. You can never leave this room. You possess too much knowledge. You know too many Swift codes. You have mapped too many corporate structures. You know where the bodies are buried in the ledgers. The ghosts who employ you will never let you resign. In your tax bracket, retirement is just another word for liquidation. You are a prisoner in a multi-million-dollar climate-controlled cell. You glance over at your secondary monitor. It's tied into the syndicate's global oversight feed, monitoring the ground-level operations. Camera 4, a strip mall bank in Miami. A young kid in a cheap, ill-fitting polyester suit is standing at the teller window. The timestamp shows it's happening right now. He's sweating. His collar is damp against his neck. He smiles a nervous smile and hands over a yellow manila envelope. Inside is exactly $9,900. You watch him walk out, patting his empty pocket, entirely unaware of the invisible crushing machinery he just set in motion. He thinks he's a genius. He thinks he's going to get rich. He thinks he's going to beat the game. You take a slow, deep breath of the sterile care. The ledger is clean. The cycle starts again.